Bruick, joined by Miles Holliday, Nate Garlock. We are the Three Wise Men. Gentlemen, we are here. March Madness, the tournament starts this week. I cannot wait. I got to be honest with you. It's my favorite time of the sports year. It's not even close. Basketball in Ohio, it's king.
Listen, anybody wants to know how I feel about this time of the year? Go back a couple of shows, watch the segment with me and Megan. I told her everything that was so special and what I loved about this time of year. It's the best.
I said a poem that night, and I got nothing.
And it had nothing to do with what we were talking about.
You still have the rose?
I do.
I bet you do. Hey, other than the opening kickoff for fall football, this is the best time of year, isn't it? Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. The drama, the atmospheres that's going to go on for the next month, it's second to none.
But I'll be honest with you, when the football playoffs come around, I say the same thing. It's the best time of the year for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't even hesitate.
Hey, we'll be down at track for the state championships, and you will say it's the best time of the year.
Yeah. Hey, before we go any farther, can I give a shout out to my daughter? Daughter? She had my grandson this week. Rhodes Scott Pauling was born this week.
Awesome. Yeah.
He's my first grandson. She gets a gold medal. She was fantastic. Her and her husband, I love him to death. I love my grandkids.
Hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but his daughter, she actually ran track
I
at Tiffin.
hate you guys.
She ran track at Tiffin. That's right.
Really good.
Well, let's hope that the athletic ability comes from the pulling side of the
let's
thing.
hope.
100%.
Let's hope. What do we got there, Miles? We got an address or a website?
There it is. Three Wise Men at WTLW.com. Folks, hit us up with your questions, and we answer them here on the show.
All right, guys, it's time for the Diamond Dave Bowen Best Thing We Saw this week. We'll start with you, Mr. Garlock.
All right. That's really going to throw off everything he wanted to do, but yeah, no problem. We'll go ahead and do it this way. This is why we should talk before the show.
We do. He just doesn't listen.
He said something.
But go ahead, Miles. I'll let you go first.
So,
I did that intentionally. Come on.
Danny,
you guys haven't gotten this
one
yet?
of the things that I have is, we're good friends with Nate, and we know Nate as a broadcaster, and we're friends with him. But Coach Nate Garlock is something special as well. Something big time happened for you, Nate, over the weekend. Tell everybody, because this is exciting stuff.
How did I know this?
And, well, much bigger for one of the athletes that I get to coach. Angela Franzalia, she qualified in both the 100 free and the 100 back. She's going to be at Keaten this weekend, competing in both of those in Division I. Very happy for her. Set a new school record in the 100 back. We're looking for some more time drops. Should be a great weekend. Going to be heading up to Canton middle of the week. Spend the weekend
fantastic.
up there.
That's awesome.
This is, this is why I love coaching, and I have very little to do with her success. I walked around Saturday at districts up in Bowling Green, carrying her towel. And you know what? Sometimes as a coach, that's just what you do, right?
Just get out of the way.
I had no problem. Let's carry her towel. I'm not going to mess with anything. Other people have put a lot of work, and she puts in a ton of work herself. So excited to watch her compete up in Canton, along with a lot of other area athletes will be up there as well.
Well, good luck on that, and congratulations. Some of the other things that I had, Danny, Shawnee winning the WBL, it's been forever since they've lost a WBL basketball game. Congratulations to those guys. We are 1 week away from the most anticipated King of the Court tournament ever, right? We're going to have it, and then we'll show it at some point in time after we film the King of the Court tournament.
We'll do that.
Chris Howell and Mark Allstatter will be joining us for that.
We don't talk at all.
So we're going to film it, and then we'll show it sometime. The King of the Court tournament, second year in a row. Our champion last year, Becca Berkey, will be back to defend his title. Boy, coming up with the 16 guys that are in this tournament has just been ridiculous. We'll have that all figured out. I got to call a throwback, if you will, a big man basketball on Friday, Coldwater with Bruns and Gruce against Co-Albers at Minster on Friday. It was fun because it was like basketball the way it used to be with big guys catching the ball in the low post and scoring. That was a lot of fun. That was a great basketball game. Got to call that with Jack McGuire. And then guys, I missed last week, but 2 weeks ago, I was very fortunate to do the Van Wert and Shawnee basketball game, and it was such a big game that there were celebrities there. And one of the biggest hip-hop artists of the 90s, Flavor Flav, was at that game. And I got to talk to him. And, we were talking about the shot clock, and he is a big fan of the shot clock. And he even gave me a clock to remind people how important the shot clock is going to be in high school basketball moving forward. And I said to him, Danny, Flavor Flav, are you a fan of the shot clock? And you know what he said?
What?
Yeah, boy!
This is a great representation of what the shot clock could be in Ohio, because you know why? That time never moves, so you have all the time in the world. And then finally, I wanted to talk about a story that I shared with you guys, and we thought maybe we should bring it on air.
This is amazing.
In honor of the gold medal that USA Hockey won over the weekend against Canada, I brought in a painting that, if you can see right here at the bottom, I don't know how good.
Yep, there it is.
Be seen right here.
Yeah.
Okay. That is Mike Urzoni. He is the captain from the 1980 Miracle on Ice Team USA. All right. The story behind this painting is my father-in-law, Gil Highland. He was roommates with Mike's
He even signed
cousin.
it at the bottom, didn't he?
Yep. And he was roommates with Mike's first cousin. Mike wanted everybody to come out to Lake Placid for the games. He actually arranged and paid for those guys to be out there.
Wow.
So they are out at the Lake Placid games. The Miracle on Ice happens. At the end of the game, in all of the celebration, everything going, Mike did not want to lose his hockey stick. So he goes over to where he knew these guys were. He throws it into the crowd for them. My father-in-law gets a hold of the hockey stick. He holds onto it. He keeps it safe. He has to wrestle it away for some people, but he makes sure that nobody else gets it. He obviously gives it back to Mike for him to have. And if you go and Google how much it sold for, I'm questioning whether or not my father-in-law should have just held on to the stick. But in thanks for doing that, and he did this for a couple of other people as well. Mike did these paintings of his hockey stick along with some other things on here. But just as a thank you for keeping his stick safe, for being out there for the support. And so my mother-in-law had this. She had dug it out. They also have a signed team photo of the entire team from 1980
Oh, that's amazing.
Well.
Yeah.
A lot of great memorabilia. My brother-in-law has a bunch as well from this time. But just a great piece. It was a great thing to remind us of back then, 46 years ago, when Team USA won the gold. And it's just a great reminder. Thought we'd bring it on here and share it, as I've only shown like the top half of it here. I probably should look at the camera from time to time.
That is really cool.
But yeah, it's a great painting, a great piece for us to have.
You stay on the good side of your father-in-law, will you?
Yeah. Nate, that is, in all seriousness, that is one of the top 5 sports moments in United States sports history. It's not,
It's got to be 1A or 1B.
Exactly, yeah. So, in other news, my 5-year-old granddaughter gave me a paint by number for my refrigerator. So I guess that doesn't mean a lot, right? Yeah.
That's a hockey stick, Danny.
Oh, goodness. Guys, I had the Bath Wildcats and Wapakoneta Friday night. What a great game that was. As Miles likes to say, I love when he calls them rock fights, man. I'm telling you, Wapak wanted to slow that game down. Logan Markley scored 15 points. Look, it wasn't his best game all year, but he had just come off being named All Northwest Ohio first team with that great group of people.
Great honor.
And he just did a great job of keeping their composure, getting the guys together. It was a 48-46 win, so he's the best thing I saw this weekend. And he was what you look for in a senior leader. Did some things down the stretch that they needed done, and Logan Markley is a heck of a player.
Oh, he is. That spin move to the left hand, it's unstoppable.
Yeah, Bath Wildcats finish out third place in the WBL, Nate. What a great year for them.
Oh, absolutely. And, they're lined up. We're going to talk about it a little bit more when we break down the brackets, but they got a rematch pending potentially with OG. Mm-hmm. That was another one of your rock fights, Miles.
It was,
That'll be, I think who comes away with that one is going to move on.
Mm. All right, Lionel Land, we're going to take a break, and we come back. The Van Wert Cougars are in the house. Xavier Kelly, Keaten Welch, and head coach Jeremy Best is
Jeremy
in the
Best.
house. You're watching The Three Wise Men. Tonight's interview is brought to you by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, located in Wapak, Delphos, and St. Mary's. Locally owned and operated, Lee's is not just famous for chicken, we're famous for catering, too. It's interview time here on The Three Wise Men, and the Van Wert Cougars are in the house. Head coach Jeremy Best, Xavier Kelly, and Keaten Welch. Gentlemen, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I want to start with you, Xavier, okay? I had your game the other night, and I said this in the broadcasting booth. I saw you play football this year, and I thought you were really quick. I saw you play basketball the other night, and I thought you were really cool. Which one are you quicker at? It's unbelievable, your athletic skills on both of them.
Me personally, I think I'm faster in probably basketball.
Basketball? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were pretty good when you go from top to bottom. I thought you were really quick. Let me ask you this, Keaten. I've always wanted to know this, all right? What's it like to play for your grandpa who knows everything about basketball? How tough is that?
I mean, he's been around for a while. He knows.
They call that dinosaur.
He knows the game. He knows the game. I mean,
That's awesome.
I love having him around.
Yeah, that's
he
great.
really knows it.
Coach, I know you're probably tired of hearing this, but we've heard it all year. You guys are a year early. Boy, you're a year early, you know? All these sophomores and your underclassmen, you're a year early. Do you feel that way, or you just coach them up?
No,
They're doing a fantastic
I
job.
don't know. I mean, I feel we are where we are, and we didn't really talk about what that means. You know, what's a year early? What's next year? I don't know. It's like just enjoy the present and what we've been doing as we've evolved this year, and obviously these two guys are a big part of it. So, you know, I'm happy with what we've done, and not happy with where we're going, because we're always preparing for the next thing, and I think that's the mindset these guys have really tried to adapt, and we talk about it as a coaching staff all the time. So,
Coach, talked to you when you first took the job, had you on Out of Bounds. It was a great interview and enjoyed the time with you. But you made a comment when we were talking that you have to do things a little bit differently from your last time as a head coach. How's that going for you?
I'm really enjoying it. You know, I think, and all the time I spent at Crestview, those 17 years as a head coach, you know, I was immersed in the community, and that's a great way to do it. You know, I don't teach at Van Wert, and you know, I thought that would be a bit problematic at times, but I've got a good guys on my coaching staff that do teach in the building, and Damian Helm being one of them. So that has helped me. And I think right away, one of the first things I tried to do with these guys is make a connection some way, somehow. You know, from day one, when I walked in, the very first meeting we had almost 2 years ago was just to try to somehow build relationships with these guys. And, you know, I think it's been pretty good for the most part. I don't know what they think.
We'll get to that.
But I think my perspective is different. You know, I'm a little older. I've had some kids now that have went through sports and athletics. My daughter is still a senior in high school, and that really helped me as a parent, maybe kind of step back and be able to look at it from a coaching view, but also from a parent view. And I think that's been healthy for me.
Love watching you coach. Super intense. In a day and age where, you know, everybody thinks coaching is puppy dogs and flowers and stuff. I mean, you have to have tough love, right? I mean, you're an intense coach, and I love that about you. Fellas, my question is you. How do you deal with the intensity that coach brings on a daily basis?
They're like, we don't want to run. We're not going to answer.
A tough question, especially with their coach setting.
I mean, coming in, we knew he was a great coach. We just really had to adapt. I mean, I feel like we adapt pretty well.
Yeah. I think when he came in, I was really excited because it seemed like, even I haven't met the guy yet, it just felt as if like he's coming and he has a job to get to. I mean, he wants something for us. So it just brings new experiences to you, and he helps as you grow. As a freshman, it was kind of hard hearing things that I didn't want to hear from him.
Yeah.
So this year that I've been implying that and trying to fix those things. I'm not being so emotional about certain things and really just taking time to fix it.
That's fantastic. It took Nate, all last year? We
Still working on it. Still working on it.
Yeah.
You know, there's one persona when the cameras are on and one when they're off. You know? So I want to ask you guys, you know, I know Danny talked to Coach about, you know, you guys hearing 1 year away and all these things, but you know, people may be saying that, but there was a lot of attention last year. It was, hey, Van Wert's up and coming. These guys are young. These guys are going to be good, and they're going to be good for a while. Now coming into this year, same thing. And you guys are, I think, ahead where a lot of people thought you might be, but it's still that these guys are young. You think they're good now, just wait. What's it like for you guys? Because I know what Coach is saying, and we all try to do that. You know, we all try to preach to athletes, and as athletes, try to go one game at a time and one season at a time, but sometimes you get caught up. Do you guys ever feel that pressure, like, people are talking about us. They expect us to be this. They expect us to be that, and kind of put that on your guys' self to live up to what people are saying, or you guys are just good at tuning all that out and just focusing on today?
I mean, I feel like we did. We'd always talk about it. Just turn it out. Just play your game, just game by game. And sometimes we get caught up, but no, not really. No.
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off that. I mean, we just block that noise out. When he came, first thing he said was just build a culture, and our whole team has a culture that lives on. And when we're really locked in, we don't really care about the outside noise. It's all about what we do within.
Coach, I want to ask you about your time at Crestview, the 17 years in the state championship and the run you had there. And What was that like to make that move over to Van Wert? It's a little bit of a rivalry there, and
Yeah.
two great institutions. But what was that thought process going into it? Because I didn't think you were done, but when you took the Van Wert job, we were kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, well, the experience I had there was, I still teach there. So, I live there. My daughter's a senior. So, I'm still immersed in that community. I no longer coach basketball there. But the time that I spent there, those years were great. I made a lot of friendships. I have relationships with my former players. I've brought former players into our practices at Van Wert. So these guys see that interaction that I have with some of those guys that have came into the Van Wert gym and interact with me and those guys. But those 17 years were awesome. I'm forever grateful for that opportunity that I had when I was hired. And we had some good runs and some really good teams and
some real good teams.
And those things, those are great memories, and I will never ever forget those experiences that I've had. And I had a window of time off. I didn't. Right. I did help our girls program for a couple years, but I wasn't a head coach for 5 years, and so that it wasn't like I left, in March at Crestview and showed up in Van Wert in April. Right. There was a window of time, and I always said I always kind of trust the timing and how I view things, and I felt the timing to get out was good timing, and I liked. I've had a rapport with Mark Bagley for a long time, and when we started talking about the possibility of that happening, I had to, talk it over with my family and my wife, who was all totally on board. My biggest concern was my daughter, who was still at Crestview while I was helping coach the girls program. So then I walked away from that. So that was probably harder on me than on her. She's
like, yeah, Dad, you should take it.
She's been great with it, and I did enjoy the 2 years that I was able to coach her, but I've really enjoyed the transition to what I'm doing in coaching these guys, and like they said, to try to build a culture of. The culture there was good, but now it's our culture. It's what I'm trying to bring in, what Damian Helm, who played for me, and Ben Schindeldecker played for me. So those guys were a part of what we did at Crestview. And we do some similar things. We did. I am who I am. I didn't totally reinvent the wheel in 5 years. But I do some things differently. I think that comes with age and experience, and being able to step back. Even when I was out of it for 5 years, my wife and I went to games. Like we just went and watched games and I really enjoyed watching coaches during that time frame and watching them do their thing. I went and watched St. John's. I'd go watch Spencerville. I'd go watch Van Wert when they were playing. We went because we enjoyed the game and to try to stay connected. But the transition's been good. I'm really enjoying it, and it's been easier because I've got good kids and I've got great support from their parents. The community at Van Wert has been awesome, and our administration is great too. And you can't do it if you don't have that, and that's a big part of why people get out of coaching.
Oh, right.
So, and that's a reason that I've really appreciated and enjoyed.
A couple questions about living in the Crestview community, right? One, how difficult is it to avoid Dave Bowen when you're in town?
Well, it's ironic you say that because he just gave me a message a couple of nights ago. I think he's in Hawaii.
He is. Yeah. He broke a hip.
Yeah. So we talk. He and I go back, 24 years, when I first came to Crestview, right. And I'm on year 24. I coached for 17, but Dave and I have known each other for a long time, and he's a huge factor in what we did all those years for 17 years. And although he should have stuck around one more year, I don't know if he ever. He's
mentioned it once or twice. He's mentioned it.
But Dave's great. I know he does a great job with you guys and what you do here, and he's a good friend.
Yeah,
he's a good friend.
And then coaching with Coach Gregory for all those years with the girls program, did he ever look at you and say, "Your hair looks too good. Go mess it up. Only my hair has to be the best."
He's
hair
got the best hair,
it's unbelievable,
and best complexion of
best tan.
of a 50-year-old man.
You can't get a tanning appointment there.
I know, right? Yeah.
These guys don't have a clue.
No idea. The last 5 minutes, they're like, "Yeah, okay."
They're looking at us, going, "Who's going to mess this up?"
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's get back to this season for you guys, right? going into postseason, you guys had a really good regular season. WBL is an absolute gauntlet.
Oh, it is.
What was different about this season for you guys, and how did that WBL schedule and that non-conference schedule get you guys ready for this postseason run?
I feel like we took the next step. Like last year, we had really, really close games. We just couldn't win in the fourth quarter, just couldn't come away with it. But now we took that next step and finishing games, which was the great impact of our record, and we're going to perform in the playoffs.
I think it just ties into experience. We had a year under our belt last year. Even with those top teams, we still had some urgency and go to play against those teams, even though we didn't always get the outcome we wanted. But I think this year, we definitely put that all the way through in the fourth quarter, and that gets us the great outcomes.
You both can hunt your own shot, right? You both have a scorer's mentality at times, but you both facilitate. My question is, how do you determine when it's time for me to hunt for my own shot, and when do I get my teammates involved? How difficult is that?
To be honest, for me, that's kind of difficult right now. That's kind of one thing me and him work on and talk about during and inside out of the games.
Your improvement to finish has really developed throughout the season, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd say, if it's more of a calm game, we want to get our execution going, which gets shots open for my teammates, which makes me really feel really good about myself. I just like getting my guys going, gets them fired up. And what he tells me is, find good for great, and the ball will always come back to you. So
great.
But at times, if I have an open lane, I'm going. It's as simple as that.
Who's stopping you?
Guys, I had you guys earlier this season against Delta St. John's. Not your best game. Keaten, my question for you is, after that game, and you guys got beat pretty bad, was it your job to pick these younger guys up? Did you take that role on? Do you do that?
I feel like as a whole team, we all lift each other up. We all love each other. We all take the role of the time. We all pick each other up. And during that St. John's game, it was rough, but we came back out and with pride, and I felt like we played that half pretty well.
Now, to be fair, they've done that to a lot of schools. So
Yeah.
I felt like you guys had, you could have played better that night. But I wondered about that, Coach. What did you say to him after that game? Because, look, it obviously didn't slow you guys down. You've had a great season.
We really didn't say a lot. There was no ranting and raving and hooting. It was simplistic. We got our tails handed to us. And I just offered kind of the mic to them at halftime. And, where are you guys at with this? Because, and I'll be honest with you. After about the first 2 minutes, I saw it coming. I saw the train coming. I did, and it was.
Never heard a coach say that.
And it was Cam, and Cam just lit that gym on fire. And I didn't have an answer. Mm-hmm. They didn't have an answer, and it's okay to admit that.
Right.
But what I was impressed with, how we came back to practice on that Wednesday. Cohen had been out. He'd had an ankle issue. He came back to practice on, I think, that Thursday, and then we went to Bath, and we needed a win. It was kind of like it was a good old-fashioned backyard brawl, and we had some really good possessions when that game wound down into the fourth quarter. We got it to overtime, and X hit a huge shot for us to win the game, and then we just kind of settled in from there and believed in what we were doing and really, played really good basketball for a large portion of the remainder of the year.
Yeah, Miles and I had Dre White on the radio today, and he says that's the one game that got away from them they wish they could have. Yeah. And it sounds like that's the one game that really brought you guys together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, let me ask you this. One school each season you want to beat the most.
St. John's for sure.
Basketball or football?
No, that's either one.
You know what? Let's go both sports.
Football.
Walpark.
Football is definitely Walpark.
Yeah.
That's the
They're
right.
the Goliath of football.
Yeah.
And that would be the team to beat. I would love to beat.
Also St. Mary's. I think it's a rough game for me personally.
Well, yeah. I wondered why. What about basketball?
Basketball. Who do we want to beat?
Delta St. John's for
we
sure.
do.
Back last year, close game. That was the loudest the gym has ever gotten, which was
I can
amazing.
ask you guys that. I won't ask Coach that.
you better not.
We don't do that. We don't put coaches on the spot.
Coach says
like
all
that.
of them, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
The next
Every
one.
game.
The next one, yeah.
Coach, I got one more question for you, and it just has kind of come just through this conversation that we're having. right? When you have a young team, and as you know, you have to kind of coach young guys sometimes differently than you got the guys with experience. But you got young guys here, especially listening to Xavier talk, the humility that seems to be there that by his own admission may not have been there last year. Yeah. What has that progression look like for you with these young guys that have seemed to latch on to everything you're saying right away?
Well, I think it makes me proud, and I think the value of communication and trying to build a rapport and a relationship is as valuable as any X and O we can do. And I think that maybe at times what a coach or myself might omit in an X and O scenario, maybe, I've dropped the ball sometimes in the areas of X and O's. But I think what I've done as I've aged and gotten older and hopefully a little smarter is taken more value in communicating, talking to kids after practice once in a while, or just talking small talk with them. And I think when you establish a relationship that you care, they're going to care, they're going to listen. And then hopefully that's infectious in our group. And I think it is with our group. I do think they generally like each other, they love each other. And that's not necessarily straight from me. They have a base with that. They spend a lot of time together. Their parents are connected and like each other. And man, that helps. And that's made my transition easier. But yeah, we as a staff talk about that. We work on it. They don't always like everything we tell them, but I think they do believe we like them and we want what's best for them. And we want to have a rapport with them, not just basketball.
Fellas, you're both really good in football, both really good in basketball. What helps you more? Does basketball help you in football, or does football help you more in basketball?
Stumped them.
I know.
I think we got them.
I mean, I see football as a way you can kind of like hide. You have a helmet on. No one can see your emotions, but basketball brings out the emotion in what everyone can see. So it's really mental. The game's 100% mental.
All right. What about you, X?
Ask me again real quick.
Okay. So does football help you more with basketball, or does basketball help you more with football?
I think basketball helps more with football.
Okay.
Just kind of, like he said, more of it's like a mental game for me for basketball, and whole roller coaster of emotions throughout my season. But no matter what, I think that helps me. Like the speed I use, I think it helps translate to football, I'd say.
Nice.
You ready to do some rapid fire questions?
You want to?
I want to do some rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire.
I've been waiting for it.
Coach, I'll ask you first. Okay. What's one thing that the players say or do that you just shake your head at?
Well, it was this whole 6'7".
Yes. Thankfully, it's disappeared.
You're the one that said that the most, though. No, you always be throwing that around.
I also teach middle school, so yeah.
You guys got to learn. That's how we end up ending all these stupid trends. Is if we just start doing it ourselves, you guys will stop and we can move past it.
And Caven, his older brother. Oh no, Caven's not here, but Caven's got all kinds of things that keeps us loose that I can't repeat probably over this. But he's highly entertaining.
Is 6'7" starting to disappear though?
I think so. It's
It's about time, isn't it?
It's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. One guy on the team that you think would be the best if he dressed up as the Cougar mascot.
Keaten Collins.
Really? That was quick.
That's good, Ed.
That's a good one, but honestly, with emotion, I would say Caven.
Really?
Just like
Okay.
but the thing is, he can't speak though. That's the only down.
Keaten needs to speak.
He needs to speak though. I don't know if he can stay quiet.
He's a speaker.
Has to get his point across.
Fellas, next week we're starting our King of the Court tournament, okay? If you guys were going to have a Van Wert one-on-one tournament with the basketball team, who's the guy on your team that's going to win your one-on-one tournament?
You know they want to say themselves.
I feel like you're obligated to say yourself, but
No.
we all have completely different
Xavier's
games.
definitely
Me
not.
and him, we're kind of the same, but we have different
Yeah.
attributes that are, I'd say.
For sure.
But
It'd be a good one to watch.
yeah, it'd be a great one. I'll give it to Keaten.
Keaten?
He's
Okay.
a good one-on-one player, I'd say.
Now you feel like you have to say Xavier,
No, I
right?
feel like I have to, but
Say Keaten.
I would say
I also think
stay in
Keaten-
front of this guy is difficult, but
Really?
Same with Cohen. He's lengthy and he can shoot over you.
Cohen's got
he's
unbelievable post moves.
Oh
too,
yeah.
doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Obviously,
jot that down for future reference.
I got it.
Right? Okay, you got that. Yeah. All right. Now I asked you guys in the pre-show, and it was going to be just you two, but Coach, we're going to include you also on this one. All right.
Okay.
You have to pick one of the three of us. You guys have an unbelievable pregame, right? They put all kinds of images on the projector on the floor there at Van Wert. You got to pick one of the three of us. Our face is going to go on that floor with the projector. Whose face is it going to be?
I mean, I'm going to say Danny. He's already got the face on the three Wiseman.
That's my guy.
He's already front and center.
Thank you.
Listen, it was a big contractual thing.
I'm sure.
We just gave
Got
in.
an agent.
Name, image, and likeness, right?
Who was my pick for Coach of the Year?
That's it. NIL.
One for Danny. All right, X, you're up.
Just give it to him. He'll feel bad if you don't say him.
On a real note, I got Nate.
You get to leave. We got to stay and deal with this now. He's going to have a meltdown later.
Why did they pick me? They don't like me.
Devastated. Well, I still got, Coach, I love you. You know that,
He
right?
didn't pick you for Coach of the Year on the radio.
I know. Well, I wasn't listening, so I don't know if that's true or not.
I was the one that approached you about coming on the show, though,
Yeah.
Coach.
You've known me longer, Coach.
I know. It's tough. It's tough.
man.
I'm going to have to go with Dave Bowen. We'll just stay neutral.
He's the fourth wise man.
You know what? Listen, I also want the face of Crestview to be on the Van Wert list. I can't wait for everybody to explain that one.
I love it.
All right, Coach, ask the guys about one-on-one tournament. You old guys on the bench, right? You're assistant coaching staff. You guys are going to play one-on-one. Who's winning this tournament?
I got to go with Coach Helm.
Really?
Yeah, I got it.
Got these young legs a little bit.
Yeah, well, and he's rangy, He's got in the weight room, At 52 years old, I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean, I could still stand and shoot, but I'm not cutting hard anymore. I'm not leaving the ground. Okay?
I know you said great things about your assistants, and Coach Helm was Assistant Coach of the Year, right, in the district?
He was. Yeah, very happy for him.
What is it about your assistant coaches that make them special?
Well, that's a question kind of for these guys too, but we had a prior relationship. That's helped. Okay, so I knew, I've known Damian since he's been 10 years old, and Ben Schindeldecker, same thing. So when I decided, when this job was available, those two guys were a must for me to have with what we were trying to do, because I thought their youth, their exuberance, they knew me. They didn't know me as. They knew me as their coach, but they didn't know me as just JB. What
Right.
people, they did, but they didn't. So I've enjoyed that a lot, where we became a different relationship instead of a former player, old coach. So, and I think they're great with our guys. They get it. They're kind of wise beyond their years too. Damian is 30 years old, and Ben is in his early 30s. But they're really good with our guys. They know me, they know the school at Van Wert, and that's helped me a ton.
Well, Damian, a heck of a wiffle ball player too, isn't he?
He's a wiffle ball champion at Ren. Ren
I
Day.
interviewed him on the field. Yeah,
And I
he got
think
the MVP.
that might mean as much to him as a state championship. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
he was
that's pretty big over that way.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
Yeah.
Guys, before we let you go, what a community you live in that supports you. What does it mean to put that Van Wert uniform on every Friday night for whatever sport you're playing? Because that's a community that just embraces athletics, and what a tradition you guys have over there.
It's amazing. Has so many people come to our games. Even last year, even the year before that, so many people show up, and it's just kind of pushes us forward. Kind of gives us the energy in the gym. They are our energy, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
To be honest, I love it. I mean, I'm all for the people, it's just, it brings enthusiasm to the environment, and it gets you going. And even if your outcome is good or bad, they're still there for you. They'll check up on you after games. So, and all the social media and everything, and all the shirts and his trophy place.
You guys talk to Bags about getting us closer to the floor, because they put us way. The air's thin up there.
It's a long ways up there.
It's a great view, though.
It is a great view.
It's a big
floor
gym.
show.
It's a
The
big
floor
gym.
show.
Yeah, I was trying to do
Perfect
the
view.
broadcast, and they had the floor show, because that's the first time I got to see the floor show.
Yeah.
And the lights, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
Great environment.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
I really
thanks for
appreciate it.
having us.
Best of luck in the tournament.
Great
run,
job.
And best of luck the next couple of years, because you're all coming back.
Xavier, last chance. You want to change your vote?
He's my guy.
Next time. Next time.
Thanks, fellas.
Well, Welcome back, Lima Land, and it's time to talk about the WSN schedule of the week. And we've got some dandies heading into tournament time, gentlemen. Game 1 and Game 2 Tuesday night, Defiance versus Elida, Shawnee and Salina. This is the D3 semis at Grove. It's Mark Shine and Dar Nevergall. Game 3 and Game 4 Tuesday night, the girls, Marion Local and St. Henry, Minster and Parkway, and JKB and Kelsey Beimer on the call for that. Or did I mess that up? Yeah, I got that.
You got that right. So Salina beat Shawnee early in the year. You know, two quality basketball teams. Got to like how Salina matches up with Shawnee. Gadsden and Wilson going to have fantastic games if Shawnee is going to pull the upset against Salina. And Elida, who's playing better basketball locally than them right now.
Well, and what I love too about this is this still has that old feel of the tournament. You know, some of us who are still struggling with this new format, right?
No pods.
Right. Well, and it's all WBL. And it's all MAC. I mean, these are teams that are familiar with one another. They know each other. They play each other a ton. That's what makes tournament basketball so much fun, because you're not going to get anything by anybody. These guys are going to be ready for each other, and there are great matchups. You know, you got 1 through 4, really no upset up except for Defiance pulling off what would be the seed upset as the 5 seed knocking off the 4 seed. But other than that, seeds held, and it's just going to mean better and better basketball.
Hey, good for Defiance, though. They've really struggled in recent years. This is the most wins they've had in probably about 5 years. Good for them. We
look at that matchup, and the Princess of Positivity told us last week that Elida would beat Lima Senior. She called it. You look at Shawnee Salina. I love that matchup. 15-7 and 15-8. You can't get much better than that, evenly matched. Now, Shawnee did win that regular season matchup 66-48. I got a feeling it's going to be a little different, and I'm not talking about Salina winning. I'm talking about maybe closer this time. They both know each other. They both had great seasons. And then we get down to that next bracket, guys. Marion Local, St. Henry, guys. St. Henry is 21-1.
Yeah.
What a season. Now, they beat Marion Local earlier this year by 20. You got to believe that a 16-win Marion Local is going to improve that score.
Well, and you got to say, you said this, but is there ever been a more quiet 21-1 team than St. Henry?
No.
Yeah. I don't understand why there's not more attention. They're not being heralded more than they should be. And I'm excited for this run where they're going to get the attention that I think they deserve.
They're a tremendous rebounding basketball team, and they're really good defensively. Those things really translate to the tournament, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other matchup, Minster 17-5, 19-4 Parkway. We're not talking about the Panthers much either. Now, Minster won that game earlier this year, 44-21, which is odd when you look at the records.
A little eye-opening, wasn't it?
Was it very eye-opening? You got to believe the Panthers are going to be lying in wait for that one.
Yeah, keep an eye on Britton Bruns. Don't sleep on her, fellas. She is fantastic. 3-sport star. She is just a fantastic athlete. This is a Parkway team, though, that has won 6 of 7. Their only loss was to GMC champ Paulding by 3, so they're playing about as good as they can.
A real bugaboo of mine is when we get these rematches and you got to try to beat somebody twice in a year.
Yeah, with that being said, let's go to Game 5. Thursday, Division 4 sectional finals. St. Mary's at 5-17. They take on the Titans of Otto Glandorf, 15-6. Randy Roberts, Miles Holiday on the call. Any chance that St. Mary's pulls the upset?
Hey, when you look at St. Mary's, they've won 3 of the last 4, but then you got to look at who they've beaten, right? Woodward, Keaten, and Elida. Well, this is an OG team that is not Woodward, Keaten, or Elida. They're playing their best basketball at the right time of year, winning 5 of 6. Big Bad Brody Fortman. You got Jordan Shoemaker, who is developing as a scorer. Rolls-Royce Ellebrock had 15 the last time out, but Holden Aldrich, 6'6", they get him the basketball a little bit more. He's going to finish around the basket. This is a OG team that's finding a lot of answers right now.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier when we broke down the brackets, but I just think that this team is really good. This OG team is primed. They're back in a familiar spot, right? They're back towards a higher seed, favorites in this game. I'm really looking forward to what I think will be the next game after this. I think OG handles business.
Yeah, could you believe they almost beat Shawnee? That was a 3-point game until the last 10 seconds.
It's OG.
Yeah.
Game 6, Thursday, Division 7 sectional finals, Ottoville and Fort Jennings. Mark Shine, Chris Howe on the call for this one. As Marty and Joe used to say, this is the rubber match.
Yeah,
you get that. You get that.
I do.
Yeah, he does. He's not a Reds fan. Yeah.
No, everybody in baseball calls it a rubber match.
Yeah, Marty and Joe didn't point that one.
It made it outside of Cincinnati.
Almost said that.
Go figure.
Listen, you're just talking about familiar foes and rematches. Yeah. I mean, this is what makes the first couple of rounds of tournament play so much fun. Even when you're not talking about teams that maybe people are looking at to make deep postseason runs, you still get those communities, you still get these rivalries, you still get these opportunities for these teams to want to knock somebody off and prevent them from moving anywhere. And there's pride built in this. And this is going to be a great rivalry matchup.
It's tough to always pick against Keith Uttendorf, right? What a great coach he does, right? They just don't have a lot of firepower with Ottoville this year, outside of Ashton Miller, who can score.
He's so good.
He can score against everybody, right? Fort Jennings, I like their ability to get up and down and score at a higher volume. It's going to be a matchup where whoever gets off to the fastest start, I think, is going to be able to win this game.
Guys, we got a regular season tilt we got to look at Friday night. The number 2 team in the state of Ohio, Princeton, comes in at 17-3. They take on Lima Senior at 18-3. Mark Shine, Jerry Snodgrass on the call. Guys, I really, really hope that Lima Senior is healthy for this matchup. We saw Sean Foster struggle with maybe the flu and some injuries and things like that. They didn't play real well Saturday. I had the Westerville North game. They looked tired. They had a tough game Friday night. I hope they're healthy because I want to see this game. I think it's a great matchup.
Listen, this game was added late into the season. This one was just put on a few weeks ago. Coach Simpson does this for a reason. He knows what his team is going to need to get themselves ready for what is going to be a gauntlet of a Division II tournament. This is what this matchup is there for. If they are healthy and they can go, they're going to go. Now, I know you said they were tired, but if you start looking, they played a lot of games in a very small window.
Did.
They had the T-Cal tournament that was in there. That was 2 games within 3 days. They then had the LCC game right after that. They had games back-to-back after that. Then they have these added games. They played a Friday and a Saturday. They have played a lot of basketball here late. Yeah. They get some rest this week. They get this big matchup where they're going to be able to test themselves against a Division I power in Princeton. And then they'll get a little bit of a rest again. You know, we talked about their road through the district. They don't even need to be at 100%, I don't believe, to get through that anyway. I think this is exactly what Coach Simpson was hoping for. He wanted a tough game before they hit the tournament run so they wouldn't have this big, long layoff of games where maybe they're not having to play 4 quarters. They're going to have to play 4 quarters Friday night.
I want Senior to be healthy as soon as possible because you don't want roles to have to change moving into the tournament, right? Because you're not healthy, guys have to change their roles. Noah Simpson more of a scoring role right now. Will they need him to score 41 a game when they get into the tournament? No, but you want everybody to be in the defined roles, right? So I want them to be as healthy as possible. And also, selfishly, we want both teams at full strength, right? And we want to see this game getting up and down. We want this to be high-octane basketball. We want a high score. Both teams are absolutely loaded. At Princeton with Cam Mercer. Who doesn't know Cam Mercer, right? Please go to Ohio State, Cam Mercer, right? You got Amir Gill, 18 points a game for Princeton, and then Jordan Johnson. How about this? 5 assists a game? Do you see that number anymore in high school basketball? No, that is a fantastic team. Both teams played Lakota West. Both teams lost to them. This is going to be a fantastic matchup. You know who wins?
The team that scores the most.
Everybody that's watching.
Very nice. Game 8 Friday, Division III sectional finals. The winner of Maumee and Salina will play Wapakoneta. Miles Holiday, Kelsey Beimer on the call. My question to you, Miles, is Kelsey strong enough to carry you?
She said her legs are going to be 100% full by then, so yeah, I think she will. Don't sleep on
Maumee.
They have Brock Hurd. He is a fantastic swingman. That being said, if Salina is playing good basketball, right? They've been so up and down this year, but when they play good basketball, they can hang with just about anybody. If they play good basketball, I think they beat Maumee, and then we get that matchup against Wapak. And the thing I like about Wapak, they play great defense. The thing I don't like about Wapak is they keep everybody in the game, don't they? Because they really struggle to score the basketball at
They're having
time.
a lot of trouble scoring right now.
I mean, it seems cliche to say, but it's going to come down to offense. Obviously, you have to score. We know their defense is going to be there. The defense gives them opportunities. It's going to be the offense that has to step up.
Game 9, Friday, Division 6 sectional finals. I think it's the best matchup of the weekend, fellas. Spencerville comes into LCC. Spencerville 14-7, LCC 12-9. They needed the best play-by-play man in the business. Oh, Danny Holbrook, Josiah Stober on the
Mark's
call.
busy?
Yeah.
Mark Shine's busy?
I turned it down because I'm going to be in Canton for state swim.
That's right.
Oh, you're right. It would have been your game. You're right about that.
But it's all right, buddy. It's all right, buddy. Thanks for pitching for me.
That's all right.
That's
They called the right-hander in. Yeah, this is a great matchup.
It is, and you know, when we talk about it in the tournament bracket, we expound on it. But I will just kind of build off of what I said there, right? You don't want questions. You want answers, right? And LCC, boy, they have a lot of questions coming in this one, right? Who's going to help Jordan Pretty? Are they healthy? Is Parker, McKee, are they going to be giving a lot of minutes? Who's going to be on the bench for them? Sean Powell is not going to be on the bench. But that is a big issue, right? You look at Spencerville. What are the questions that Spencerville has? None, right? They know who their scorers are. They know that they're going to have inside presence with Comer and Grigsby. They have Steeman that can hit from outside. I just like the fact that Spencerville knows all the right answers to their questions, and LCC still has to figure things out.
If I'm LCC, though, I think I like everybody questioning and everybody counting us and counting us out, and we're at home.
Yeah, I like playing at home, too. All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to break down the tournament brackets. Tyler El Guapo Avila, Young Gravy David Menzel from 93.1 The Fan. They're going to be in studio to help us out. You're watching The Three Wise Men on WOSN. Welcome back to The Three Wise Men, and gentlemen, welcome our guest Tyler Avila and Young Gravy David Menzel from 93.1 The Fan here in town. Guys, thanks for spending some time with us.
Wait a minute, you called him Young Gravy, but you didn't call him El Guapo.
Okay, Tyler El Guapo
There you
Avila.
go.
There we go. Yeah, guys.
Worlds colliding.
Yes.
Right? Now you guys get to realize what we have to deal with on this side of things.
What's the Hannah Montana song, Best of Both Worlds?
Yes,
It's right here.
right here.
Well, and then that was as long as we're going to have Young Gravy on the show.
I'm sorry, guys.
He lasted as long as he possibly could, guys, before the first Hannah Montana record.
We got a rule on The Three Wise Men. No Nickelodeon references.
Well, that's Disney Channel.
Oh, no.
You know that was Miley Cyrus, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait,
That was
really?
Miley Cyrus, that was. Yeah.
The more you know.
Came in like a wrecking ball for him, but he realized
Oh. Well, guys, we brought you on the show.
The brackets are off to a great start.
We brought you on the show to talk a little brackets,
Because it's a
basketball.
party in the USA.
That's right.
This is going to stop right now. If it doesn't,
You guys are welcome, by the way.
all your fault.
You guys are welcome.
my achy breaky heart. Oh, my God.
Billy Ray.
All right, guys. Hey, look, you guys have both seen as much basketball as anybody in the area. Give me your overview this year of the season. It's been fantastic in Lima Lane. Tyler, we'll start with you.
Well, I didn't get to see a lot of Lima Lane. I saw a lot of Delphus and
Well,
Mac. But
Not too bad of a job, by the way.
No. Being the play-by-play guy for Fun 1071, St. John's is the real deal, and I'm looking forward to a lengthy run with the Jays.
Absolutely. Gravy?
Yeah, I feel like I've seen every team at least once this season, and I got to say it's been a lot of fun. Seeing a lot of WBL, seeing a lot of NWC, some MAC games as well, and you start to see the teams that kind of come, into their own, throughout the season. And I've got to see a lot of those. So some teams are really rolling, and I'm really excited for the tournament.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's get right into it. Let's
do it.
start with Northwest 2, Division 2. The Lima Senior Spartans take on Toledo Wait. Look, I'm not a genius at this, but I got Spartans coming out of this one.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Danny.
Well, yeah, you take a look, and they beat Wait pretty handedly in the season, 94-17. Danny, you and I were both at that Westerville North game, and I just got to say, this Lima Senior team, they didn't play their best game against Westerville North, but if that's the game you get against Westerville North, I'd take that, plus Sean Foster if he's healthy during the playoffs. So I see Lima Senior, like, if they've got Sean Foster back, they're clicking on all cylinders. I really like their chances this year.
Nate?
Yeah, listen, this district isn't going to be any trouble for them, and it really shouldn't be. The big thing is going to be getting through it with getting quality minutes for guys, keeping guys healthy, and keeping the reps up, because they're not going to have a challenge. They get a rematch with Anthony Wayne in the finals. It's always hard to beat a team twice, but Lima Senior and everything they have going for them. We'll have a little bit more about them a little bit later, but the Spartans, this district shouldn't be much of an issue for them.
Craig Thames isn't playing for Wade anymore, so I think they're going to have an easy path there. I do like the gas kid at Anthony Wayne, but just not enough firepower there. I think Senior moves on. And you mentioned on the radio that you thought that Senior looked a little bit tired last weekend.
I did.
That's a good time to get healthy and fresh.
Yeah, I think they'll get their legs up back, and I think they're going to be healthy. They're going to make a long run.
I agree.
True believer in the Spartans. All right, Northwest 1, Division 3. We'll go to you, Gravy. This is Wapakoneta is the 3 seed. Salina is the 8 seed. Looks like they're going to play. And then if everything works out, we can see a matchup of Wapakoneta maybe somewhere down the line with Miles' favorite team, Toledo Central.
Do you know they recruit?
Yeah, I had that on my notes. We might have a little football rematch coming up. But Wapak, you take a look at them. They started the season so strong. And, I think they finished, 3-6 in their last 9 games to go with a 3-game loss streak. But this team, they love to play defense. And I think if they can hold on, they beat Salina earlier on in the season. I like them coming into the district. But like you said, running into Toledo Central Catholic, that is going to be a tough break. They're the 1st seed overall. But, that's later on down the line. You look at their probable matchup, either Salina or Maumee. I think they make a nice run at least, and then maybe Defiance next.
Defense isn't a problem with Wapak, Tyler. It's scoring the ball right now.
It is. I got the chance to call a game of theirs on the fan with Frank Kill. It was against LCC, and I thought they did a really great job of slowing down Jordan Purdy and the T-Birds. That was the only game I got to see a Wapak. So I don't know much about the Redskins, but I'm excited for a potential matchup with TCC.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at this district as a whole, right, you like what Wapak has, but it's like what you guys were just talking about. Any given night, Wapak can beat anybody because of the defense that they play. The problem is the consistency in that offense. If Coach Elkert can get that offense clicking consistently, any night, they can knock off anybody. They can play with TCC. They have locked down defense. They're rangy. They can get in the passing lanes. They can cause problems. It's the offensive end that has been kind of that up and down issue for them this year. They get on a run and they get that offense clicking, you watch out. I think that they're going to be in that district final. I think they'll get through their matchups in that top part of the bracket. TCC is its own animal, for sure, but it's also not the same TCC team that was last year that made the regional either.
So. Not as talented. No, but still really talented.
For sure.
They're unbelievable. I have Central Catholic in the bottom portion, right? I think they're more talented than anybody else in the bottom. That war between if Wapakoneta can get by Maumee or Salina. Maumee, don't sleep on them. They're a pretty good basketball team, but I think they will because they play great defense. So you're looking at a war between Defiance and Wapakoneta in that semifinal. That is going to be a great basketball game. To me, the key for Wapakoneta, who's going to be selfish for them? When Caleb Moyer has hunted his shot earlier in the year, they are a much different basketball team, right? If he's a guy that starts to look to shoot first before passing, I think that makes their offense a little bit better. That Defiance and Wapakoneta, I want to go with Wapakoneta because I want to see that rematch, right? Central Catholic and Wapakoneta from what we had in football, going to be a great atmosphere, wouldn't it?
Well, Miles, you brought up who's going to be selfish. I saw them against Marion Local, and they did take it to a very good Marion Local team. You got to get Caleb Adams going downhill. He does great, when he's putting in the pressure in the paint, and especially if you can get him isolated at the three-point line. He's one of the best at going downhill. So if you can find a way to get him a couple easy layups, whether it's transition or just get him down in the paint, I think that's their selfish guy they need.
Northwest 1, Division 4. We're going to start with you, Nate, on this one. This is a WBL-flavored matchup here. Dare we say it? Are we going to get a Bath OG rematch that I think would be fantastic?
Yeah, I do. I think that's the matchup that we're going to see. I think the winner of that matchup takes this district. I would not want to bet against Ottawa Glandorf to have the same kind of shooting night that they had in that first matchup with Bath. I know, Miles, you were there.
Miles was there at that one.
But I'll tell you what, the job that Coach White has done over at Bath, the season that they've had, that is going to be a fantastic matchup. Two really well-coached teams, two teams that want to be able to move over a hump, right? Ottawa Glandorf down year last year, they're not used to that. They want to get that taste out of their mouth. They want to move deeper into the tournament. Bath, it's been a while since we've seen them make a tournament run. They would love to be able to take that next step within the program. That's the matchup to watch in this one, and in my opinion, the winner of that one will eventually end up in the regional as well.
I tend to agree with you, but I like OG in the rematch against Bath. That was a fourth quarter for OG when they played Bath. That was about the worst fourth quarter that they played all season long. I like them in a rematch because they got three-tier scoring now. Early in the year, it was just big bad Brody Fortman and everybody else try to get a bucket. Now they've got Ellerbrock and they got Shoemaker, who's a double-digit scorer guy. I think they beat Bath this time. Now watch out for Lake at the top part of the bracket, though. Lake is a really good basketball team. That's going to be a real tough final against Lake and against OG.
Gravy, you're looking for that rematch with Bath and OG? Because I told you earlier, I want to see that again.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be at that Bath and Bryan game, so I'll let you know how they look as they get ready for potentially that matchup against OG. But I want to go back to Bath for a second. You look at Logan Markley. We know he is an absolute baller. He scored 30 points, in a game earlier on this season. We know guys, like Josiah Clark. I think he's going to be needed to step up in a big way. I think he had 19.
The 3 threes Friday night against Wapak.
Yeah, exactly. He had 19 against St. John's, a really good St. John's team, that really keyed in on Logan Markley and Dagan Hawkins as well. We know he can score the ball. So if the guys like Josiah Clark, Drew Peaster, Daniel Cole as well, those kind of 3 guys that are also in the starting lineup, I think Josiah Clark can step up in a big way. But I think, like you said, Danny, I think Ottawa Glandorf might have the edge in the tournament time just because they seem to figure it out. They seem to have figured it out.
You're going to pick Bath, Tyler, because everybody seems to be going OG way. I think it's a toss-up. I really do. I know what you guys are saying with the OG, with the tradition and the fact that maybe they should have got away with that one.
No, they're just scoring easier now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, you got to think. You got 2 great coaches if we're able to get to that rematch in OG and Bath in the district semifinal. But I don't want to go against Trey White. That guy is a winner wherever he goes. And I feel like, yes, the cliche, it's hard to beat a good team twice, but I think Bath can do it and knock off OG to make it to the final.
All the OG fans are watching us. Just kidding. Northwest 3, Division 4. It's another WBL-flavored matchup. Van Wert takes on Napoleon. They're the 1 seed, and Elida is the 5 seed with Wauseon. Miles?
Yeah, the bottom of the bracket, Upper Sandusky, I think, is the one that moves on from there, okay? They're a really good basketball team. OG did beat them recently in overtime. So I don't know if Upper Sandusky has enough firepower to go ahead and win the whole thing. I like Van Wert at the top of it, right? Elida and Wauseon, really a down year for them. Coach Burt does a great job. He just doesn't have any firepower right there. And we all know Elida has struggled to score buckets this year, right? So I like Van Wert. If they can get by Napoleon, Napoleon has been a hot and cold team, up and down this year. Sometimes they score a lot, sometimes they don't. But I like Van Wert. I like their toughness. And how do you go against Coach Best and the guys, right? They got Xavier Kelly, the X-Men. Yeah. That guy can finish all the time. So I like Van Wert against Upper Sandusky in the final.
Yeah, I love this draw.
Any worries about as young as Van Wert is in their tournament?
Not at this point.
Exactly.
I mean, you got a whole season against them. They've played in big games. They've been in big environments. They know what they're getting themselves into. This draw, in my opinion, could not have been any better for Van Wert and how this lays out for them. I think Van Wert is going to have a big run. Listen, health and all these other things come into play, but I think the Cougars have things lined up to where we're going to see quite a few tournament games out of them.
They get by Upper Sandusky in the final?
Oh,
I think so.
Yeah.
Any arguments for that,
I honestly
guys?
don't know that
I think we're all good there, yeah. Northwest 2, Division 5. Coldwater comes in with the 5 seed, Bluffton the 6 seed. Look, I'm not making predictions here, but Miles and I saw Bluffton earlier this year, and when they get loaded, I mean, I'm telling you, they got shooters. Robbie Taylor can knock it down. I think Donley is I think this is a Bluffton squad that when the tournament rolls around, you're going to see their best basketball. Look, they've had to start a young freshman in that lineup. He'll have 4 or 5 games under his belt. I like Bluffton. They got to play Ottawa Hills, which is going to be a tough game, but I like their chances in this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw Bluffton a couple times this season as well, and Bean Ginther, he's an absolute dog the way he plays. But you brought up Brody Donley, the freshman. When I saw, Bluffton play, I didn't get to see the same thing that you guys saw, but in these last couple of games, he's really come into his own as a freshman. He's going to have a great career ahead of him, but as of now, I don't know if the Ottawa Hills matchup is theirs. But I will say I love watching Bluffton and the way they play.
Top part of the bracket is a toss-up for me, man. Any one of those 4 or 5 teams could win that top part of the bracket. I think the winner of this whole district comes out of the bottom, right? I love Coldwater with Bruns and
Lot of size.
But Gruce is a stud, 8 points, 8 rebound guy. Bruns is 6'10". But at the same time, Coldwater struggles with guard play at times, right? They do. Knapke is about the only answer that they have there. So I think the winner of that one is Archbold. I think Archbold moves on. Keep an eye on a kid by the last name of Harris, a sophomore. That's absolutely fantastic at Archbold. They move on. And then you have Bluffton, I think, moving on. You love Donley, just a freshman. How good's that kid going to be? He's going to be unbelievable, really right?
Good,
yeah, but I think Joe Frank and the guys at Archbold, they do a great job. I like Archbold in the bottom of the bracket there.
Okay. Let's go on to Northwest 1, Division 6. It is loaded with area teams. St. Henry is the 2 seed. They play Perry. Lima Central Catholic, the 3 seed. Spencerville, the 4 seed. We think that's the matchup of the weekend, fellas. I don't think anybody can argue with that. And then you've got Crestview sitting up there at the 2nd seed, waiting on the winner of Ayersville, Fairview. Let's just do it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Lima Central Catholic, Spencerville. I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup.
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying any of that, right? And there's so many different things that come into this. Spencerville wanted this matchup. They put themselves on this line. They wanted to go at LCC's place. If you need any more motivation, if you're LCC, I don't know what to tell you. We'll see what the bench looks like this weekend for LCC, but they may have some things that they got to overcome as well in this one. On top of having the sensible guys come in, it's always hard to beat a team twice. It's a big rivalry. It's a big matchup. You got talent all over the floor. This is not supposed to be. This is what we were supposed to avoid in this whole new format, right? We weren't supposed to end up with a matchup like this. This is supposed to be right. This is not how this was supposed to play out. But listen, when coaches want to go after certain paths and they look at what they think will work out best, this is a gauntlet though, because whoever.
Who wants St. Henry?
Wants to win in this one? They got St. Henry coming next.
Who wants that?
Yeah. And then you got Crestview, who's been playing a lot better as of late. If somehow it's LCC, that's a rematch of a great game that just happened over this past weekend. Spencerville and Crestview, we know that they have a history as well, where Spencerville won that one pretty handedly. St. Henry and all the games that they've had to play in the MAC. This bracket, to me, is the hardest one to predict.
Yeah, let me ask you guys this. I think Kevin Sensabaugh is a fantastic coach.
Yep.
I want to know his thinking of having to go to LCC.
You got to look at the other side of the bracket.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
why.
Yeah,
That's why.
Yeah,
listen. There's a gauntlet on the other side as well. And if you're Coach Sensabaugh, if you're any coach, you're looking.
I'm not questioning what he did.
If you're looking at it and
team,
you're saying, "Hey, listen, where do we think?" And it has to be a chess matchup because it can't just be your first game, right? You got to believe in your team and say, okay, if we get by this one, what can we see next and next and next? And I think when you look at this, if you can get through this gauntlet, whoever comes out of this district is setting themselves up to have a nice look at a Final Four.
Well, he's healthy too, and both Sensabaugh are healthy now.
Finally
Healthy.
Yeah.
They've got Jude
That's a big
Steeman.
thing.
Look, those two sophomores are both 6'3". They're big guys. I like the matchup. That's really scary to have to go win on Central Catholic.
At some point, you got to beat everybody, right? And that's he's not shying away from a challenge at all.
When you look at that matchup, Spencerville has less questions to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Than LCC right now. Injuries, health, who's going to be on the bench, who's not going to be on the bench for LCC. Spencerville, they're healthy again. We got all the answers figured out. I like them in that matchup. On the top side, though, don't sleep on Ayersville. They have two really young sophomores that can really fill it up. If they get into an up and down tempo game against Crestview, that would be in their favor. But if it's a Crestview type game, I like that matchup for them, right?
Guys, listen to that. We could have a Crestview St. Henry, or a Crestview LCC final, a Crestview Spencerville final, a St. Henry Crestview. I mean, the final is unbelievable to think of.
Nate called it right. This is an incredibly tough bracket.
Yeah,
St. Henry is so
crazy.
good.
Who do you like coming out of this one, Tyler?
It's tough. I kind of want to give the edge to the team that had the toughest schedule in Division 6. So I want to go with the T-Birds. I think Jordan Purdy can will this team, Agent Zero, as they like to call him over there.
Call him that.
It's his senior year. He wants to try to get his team as far as they can. They lost in the regional final last year?
Yep.
So they want to try to get over that hump. But if everything's correct, I think, depending on the next one we go to, if Crestview gets out of here, we could potentially see maybe a regional semifinal between them and Lincoln View.
Yep. I think the most important thing here for LCC is you got to get Xavier Purnell more involved. We talk about he is
Mr. Intensity.
He
Love
is,
that guy.
man. I love that six-man mentality. Just comes off the bench and just brings that energy. But when he was in the starting lineup against Crestview, he got 22 points. A couple of them were easy. It was just the way that Crestview was playing defense. They were really keying in on Jordan Priddy. But you're going to see that a lot in the playoffs. Teams are going to double Jordan Priddy. They're going to bring a different defensive look. And if Xavier Purnell can be kind of just that guy in waiting to kind of have that game, and it was 22 points against Crestview, but it could be 25 against another team if you give them the right opportunity.
Let me ask you this. Other than St. Henry, with Hulsman shooting it from the perimeter, who's got a better inside-outside combination than St. Henry?
Northwest 2, Division 6, gentlemen. The Lincoln View Lancers, the number 1 seed. Looks like they may have a matchup with Wayne Trace, the number 3 seed. Really like Lincoln View in this bottom bracket. Don't know a lot about Maumee Valley Country Day or Woodmore or Metamora Evergreen. I don't know why that's on there like that.
Don't sleep on Evergreen. They beat Patrick Henry.
As we all know him as Evergreen.
Yes, I know. They said that.
Evergreen. They beat Patrick Henry earlier in the year. That was a huge upset. Patrick Henry easily won the NWAL. They have Reed Krieger, who's being recruited by a Division I team. So Evergreen is a capable basketball team. And you think that Lincoln View might get through the bottom of the bracket if Haviland, Wayne Trace. Haviland, Wayne Trace.
This is my least favorite bit we've ever done.
It's the home of the baby snake, right?
If they jump to their zone defense that they like to break out, and all of a sudden it's a bad shooting night for Mad Max Hammonds and the guys at Lincoln View, they could be a possible upset threat right there. But I like Lincoln View. Those guys moving on, and it could be a great matchup if it's Evergreen, because Evergreen will get up and down.
Do you remember a couple weeks ago when I was screaming Lancer Dancer, Lancer Dancer? They're dancing to
Who could ever forget it? Yeah, it was amazing.
I agree. I love Lincoln View. The only one in here who I think, the only matchup, I think it'll be a district final, and I cannot think of his name. Help me out. Who is the speedy guard from Maumee? Do you know off the top of your head?
That's the different Maumee. That's not the Maumee near us.
But I'm at the Toledo Maumee.
No, that's a different Toledo Maumee.
Country Day.
Country Day. I thought you meant Maumee High School.
This is a good take, guys. This is really good.
This is the guy that lives in Toledo. Toledo Maumee Valley Country Day. They played LCC about 2 weeks ago, so I had a chance to watch that.
Real speedy little guard.
Speed. Like we talked to Xavier Kelly earlier. We talked about his speed. I had never seen speed on the court like I had seen out of this guard up there from them. That could be a difference maker. That it's hard to defend. He is really, really fast. They are a good team. They are either winning in blowout fashion or they're losing in close games. So with the way that Lincoln View can score, it's hard to tell how those will play out. I think that'll be a great matchup, though. I'm excited to watch it. I think a lot of fireworks in that one.
Guys, Northwest 4, Division 6. Mark it in the books. Put it in the books, Gravy.
See what you did there?
I did. Columbus Grove is going to play Riverdale. Now, Riverdale's had a nice season, all right? Riverdale's had a nice season. Grove's going to beat them, and you're going to get a Van Buren Grove matchup. And we haven't talked a lot about Van Buren on here, and they're not really in our area. The Knights are up by Finley. They are really, really good. I'm telling you, what a matchup that is, Van Buren, Columbus Grove.
Yeah, I was going to say Van Buren's 19-2 this season. Obviously a little bit out of our listening area over on the radio. But, one thing I will say about Grove, they were 11-1 in their last 12 games. They had the outright PCL title. They're getting hot at the exact right time. I said it's the most
athletic team in Northwest Ohio.
Exactly. The athletes all over Trevin Baxter, his little two-step, drop-step dunk. You don't see that a lot when the guy's only 6'1". The athletes all over the place. But again, they are extremely physical. They're in every single passing lane you could possibly think of. So I think they're going to give Van Buren a lot of trouble. I like Columbus Grove in this one just because they've gotten hot at the exact right time. And I don't see a whole lot of people slowing them down just because, you go down the bench too. They got guys, the 6, 7, 8 man on the bench. They've got guys everywhere.
6, 7.
Oh, come on. I thought we were letting that die.
You did.
Well, the thing that's interesting to me about Van Buren is, yes, they got the bye. They play on the 4th of March, but this Thursday they take on Marion Local.
Yeah, that's a pretty good tune-up, right?
Like, if you're a fan of the Knights, like you have 2 great games coming your way here in a matter of a week. But I saw Grove. They dominated Jefferson when I called that game a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how anybody can stop them unless they have superb defense, because those guys can fly.
Don't sleep on Van Buren, Miles.
No, I like Van Buren, but I mean, he's old and he was president, a long time ago.
This is the Van Buren boys. The Van Buren boys.
Yeah. Not that Van Buren.
No, that one. Not the one
that's near us.
Not the one in Maumee. Look, I like Columbus Grove because they have a lot of talent, as you guys said, very athletic, right? But they're just tough, right? So a lot of it's going to depend, though. Let's not count out one thing. The officials are going to be a big part of what is going to happen in these tournaments, right? How the game is called and how the players adapt to it. If it's a game where the officials let these guys play and it's a physical affair, I really like Columbus Grove. But if it's called really tight and all of a sudden Columbus Grove is in a lot of foul trouble, that's where Van Buren's going to have a chance. They're a finesse team against a power team. What a great matchup.
Well, let me ask you this, Danny. You asked me earlier about Spencerville choosing that line. Walk me through why you think Columbus Grove chose to put themselves on that line where they're going to go against the 1 seed right away when they obviously had a lot of other options when it would have came time.
I when I first saw that, I thought the same thing, and I thought, you know what, Connor Coles must want to challenge his kids. Look, we're going to play Riverdale. If we get by Riverdale, we've got the best team in the bracket to take, and we got to get through there. We got to beat good teams anyways. Let's do it. I think he knows their athleticism. He knows they get up and down the court. He obviously has seen Van Buren play. Mm-hmm. He's not afraid of him, and that's why he went there. I like the move. I'm just telling you guys, Van Buren, loaded. Absolutely loaded. They won the BBC. They beat Liberty. Right. I mean, they beat some really good teams.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
So
don't forget, that's a BBC that has Arlington in it as well.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Northwest 5, Division 6. Take a look at the middle bracket. Allen East plays Hopewell Loudon, Miles.
Let me ask you this. What has happened at Allen East?
Yeah, that's funny you should say that. We talked to them, Ben Belcher on the radio, the week that they were in first place in the Northwest Conference, and they were playing really good basketball. But look, I think sometimes when you've got a young team, and they do have a young team, I think the season wears on you guys. Mm-hmm. And look, the Northwest Conference is tough. Allen East still a good basketball team. They've got really good players. I just think the grind of a season is tough, and it doesn't get much easier because they're going to play probably, if they get by Hopewell Loudon, they're probably going to play Ada. Ooh. And Ada is a nice club. They haven't, look, they haven't
Zimmerman
had the,
kid's
yeah,
fun.
he's really good. They haven't had the season they want to, but they're loaded. I'm just telling you, they're loaded. They can make a run here. They almost knocked off LCC last year in the tournament.
That was a game you and I did. That was a great game.
Exactly. So, and then you've got the top bracket, and it's an all MAC. New Bremen, who wants to play Marion Local? Oh, it's you guys. So, yeah, great bracket.
Can we just go ahead and pencil in Marion Local, though?
Yeah.
You're right, right. I mean, we love Ada. We love the job that they do. We love Allen East. But, I mean, this is just a Marion Local team. Everybody forgets their only one loss was to DSJ, right?
Yeah.
This is an unbelievable basketball team. They control tempo. They're never out-rebounded. They're tremendous defensively, and they don't turn the basketball over. How do you beat them?
I'll just say this, Miles. The one bugaboo this Marion Local team may have, if you can find a weakness, is their perimeter shooting. Yep. They're not a great three-point shooting team. I'm just telling you, they can get to the rim, they can defend, they can move the ball, they can switch up defenses. But I'm telling you, if you can play a heavy zone on them, keep them out of the paint, make them shoot jumpers.
Rebound out of that
zone.
no,
you got to.
Exactly what St. John's did. I mean, me and you were at that game, and St. John's just shot it from the perimeter, and they just dared Marion Local to shoot it from outside.
And they didn't do well,
they can't. And that's what Coach Gaudemuller, when he was on the afternoon huddle with us that day, he said, we try to hide it. Well, they couldn't hide it that night.
Still a 19-1 Marion Local team that I'm not betting against. Right?
Well, yeah, and then when you look at it, like, it's no shade to any other teams. Like, again, there is strategy when you put yourself on a bracket and when you're trying to find out what is your best path to get yourself the deepest, to get yourself the best matchups. Sometimes health comes into play, all sorts of stuff, right? But nobody wanted to put themselves on this line. So you got to give Allen East a bunch of credit, right? You got the 1 seed Marion Local, then you got the 3 seed Allen East. They put themselves there, but then it's 5, 6, 6, 5. Nobody else wanted to come down there and take on that challenge. They wanted to avoid that for as long as they could, and it's for good reason. It's the respect that Marion Local has right now. That's a good team. They're good defensively. This feels like a team that can get themselves into a really rare position this year. Yep. But I think this district is going to be theirs.
Gravy, do you think Mesher is the best player in this district?
I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I think Cale Arns deserves a bid for that as well, especially with the way he's played down the stretch. I saw that game against Wapakoneta. He had like 26 or 24 points in that game. And he kind of emerged as that guy that, maybe when they can't quite get it going in terms of Mesher, Cale Arns is there, and he seemed, peak athleticism against Wapakoneta. So I think, give him the nod as well. But, you guys, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but Marion Local, I saw him play against Wapakoneta. They played him tough.
They
played him tough.
Wild take, big guy.
Yeah, but I like him here in this one.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
I want to put it on record, though, that Tyler and Danny said nobody at Marion Local can shoot. Nobody there can shoot.
We didn't say that. He asked us what their
bugaboo
bugaboo was, and we said outside
if
shooting.
you need a reminder,
I have
go
never
ahead
said
and rewind
bugaboo.
a little bit. And then at the beginning of the show here today, there was going to be a sign up that says where you can send all your email. You can go ahead and send it right there and then come back.
And I've never said bugaboo.
Oh, yeah.
I never.
Bear traps and bugaboos. Northwest 1, Division 7. Guys, look at the bottom of this bracket. This is awesome. Fort Jennings and Ottoville, separated by 3 miles of cornfields and hatred. I'm telling you, that's a rivalry. You know, you can see each of their schools from each of their schools. It's not very far apart. I love this matchup only because it's tournament time. Ottoville's a 7 seed. You know they'd love to kill the season of Fort Jennings. You look up there at Miller City, they've had a special season. They're the 1 seed.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a 1-1 matchup here in the district final. I think you got Montpelier and Miller City. They're on a collision course, and that's going to be a great game when I think it happens.
I just like the tournament matchup at Fort Jennings Ottoville.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You always say the 3 miles of cornfields and hate, or you change the cornfield or
I
something.
change the distance.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. That's how it was back in J-Town. Johnstown and Northridge were separated by 3 miles.
He got Johnstown on the show.
Johnny's! Let's go, Johnny's!
Go, Johnny's.
People were watching Kalida going, where is that at?
We beat him in the tournament
back home.
in lacrosse, so it's fine. We knocked him out.
Lacrosse reference.
No, we knocked him out in lacrosse.
The thing with this one that's intriguing is it's a rubber match. They both split with each other. Fort Jennings beat Ottoville earlier in the year by 8 at Ottoville. Ottoville got them back on the road, 70-59. Each team's won 3 of their last 4 games. With Fort Jennings, what's interesting is they lost 6 games before that 3-game win streak. So it's hard to tell who has the upper hand heading into this tournament game, but it's going to be fun having a PCL battle there.
I like that.
At the top part, though, don't sleep on Montpelier, the 1 seed. They have a kid. Remember this name, C.J. Fiddler. He is unbelievable as a sophomore, about a 20-point-a-game guy. He's going to be a big-time recruit. Striker has Will Donovan. He's a 20-point game scorer in the BBC. Tyler Willis does a great job with them. In the bottom bracket, though, McMichael Antwerp can fill it up, and Doug Billman does a great job. There are so much talent in this bracket. That being said, though, I do like Montpelier.
I have a question for you, Miles.
Yeah.
You've said don't sleep on 6 times. Who can we sleep on?
It's my bugaboo.
Yeah.
It's my bugaboo. I'm sorry.
You never said that.
Not that bugaboo.
Yeah, oh,
Not that
no,
one.
no.
Not that
Not the
one.
by us?
Not Harrod Allen East or McGuffey Upper Side of Valley. All right, Northwest 2, Division 7. Kalida's at the top in the 2 seed. They'll take on Continental. Delphus Jefferson, that's your guys. Tyler, you've seen them a lot this year. 3 seed. They take on Holgate. Minster, Lima Temple Christian. Upper Side of Valley, New Knoxville. Guys, the match up for me is at the bottom of this, Upper Side of Valley and New Knoxville. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Bo Sanders is a great player for the Rams.
Do you like Bo Sanders, do you?
I do.
A little bias there,
A little
right?
bias,
Maybe,
that's- yeah, a little
Yeah, he can fill it up, though, can he?
Every Sanders who's come
scorer.
through has been a good player.
Yeah, I would make an argument, though, that Cole Albers might be the best player in this whole district, though.
Oh, I'm not arguing that.
Minster. I like Minster a great deal. I saw them on Friday night. Good complement of inside-outside play, and they got that guy that can get them out of jail anytime they want. Just get the ball to Cole Albers, and he can score.
I don't think there's a team playing better than Lima Temple Christian, though, right? They're playing really good basketball.
They are, but they're coming up against a really good Minster squad. Who you guys talked earlier about who has a better inside-outside game. Well, I would be hard-pressed to find a team anywhere that has a better inside-out game than that combination of Albers and McClure down there in Minster.
Right. Both 1,000-point scorers.
Yep, and what Albers can do on the inside, the attention that he draws, and he's able to find the guys on the outside. When the offense runs through him, this is a very dangerous team. If they can get that consistently and they can keep that playing that way and they don't get away from that, this is a Coldwater team or a Minster team, excuse me. They're not going to like that. That's a Minster team. This is a Minster team. They were not going to like that. Yeah. But this is a Minster team that has a chance to go on a big run. They're very talented. I like that combination of those guys. They have some other pieces that help complement that as well. Very talented. I know there's always this thing with Kalida, right? Kalida and the defense that comes out of there and playing at Kalida. There's always something special there. But I really like this Minster squad. I think that they got the talent to get them through this bracket.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not a Mac guy, but I know of Cole Albers and Minster. I've seen it all the time, whether it's on social media or the stats that come out, kind of after the fact. And I just really don't see a team in this bracket, although a lot of great local teams. I just don't know if I see a team in this bracket that can really take it to Minster because, like you guys have said a bunch.
Minster, not Cold. Don't say that. They don't like it when you say Coldwater. It's Minster. Yeah.
Did I say Minster?
You said Coldwater.
Oh, did I? You tricked me.
Mr. Chairman, I want it to be noted that Gravy said he's not a Mac guy. He said, I'm not a Mac guy.
You also didn't say that. I just want to try to put the heat on somebody else.
Come on. I was like, I definitely did not. I know I didn't.
Tyler, Delphus Jefferson, the 3 seed, a nice year for the Cats. Coming off a year last year they weren't real happy with, but an impressive year this year.
Yeah, they won about a game or two more than what they did last year, but the thing is they're on a 5-game losing streak, so they're looking to bounce back. With the new season, with the tournament rolling around, they'll host Holgate. I don't know much about Holgate at the moment. That's the game I'll be calling for Fun 107.1 on Thursday. But Jefferson, the big question coming into the season for the Wildcats was how are they going to replace Connor Agner? And
how he could score, couldn't he?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the game centered around him at Jefferson. They just threw the ball into him, and he was kind of their main guy. Well, they've had a couple of guys step up in regards to my mind's blanking.
Another Jefferson Wildcat.
They've had a couple of guys step up, and Isaac Rostifer, Luke Rohde, Gavin Howell, to name a few, to kind of push it up. They've have 5 or 6 seniors on that team, but they're kind of searching for themselves right now when it comes to resetting and hosting Holgate.
Guys, let's go to Northwest 3 Division 7 basketball.
I can't imagine who Miles is going to like in
I
this
know.
bracket.
I just want to say
He's been very
this.
secretive.
Yes, I want to say this,
who his
and
choice would be.
with all due respect to the Van Loo Wildcats, but shorts on the left, shirts on the right, banquet information next table. I don't think they're going to beat Arlington. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but Arlington's coming out of here.
It's just coming naturally. He's not trying.
That's
just how it is.
I want to be a polite host because we have Coach Vermillion and Calvin Willow on the show next week. So I want to just say I really like Arlington in this.
Yeah, listen, I think
straw sucking sound.
listen, when you look at this whole
I said
whole
on the
bracket,
radio I like Coach Best a lot.
It worked.
but it's Arlington, and I think right now we're all just on a countdown, right, for the one matchup that most
all
of
want
us
it.
in this area want to see, and that's that rematch with Arlington and DSJ.
Guys, let's go to Northwest 6 Division 7. Delphus St. John's Blue Jays, the 1 seed. They'll take on Hardin Northern. You've got Ridgemont and Waynesfield in the second bracket. Arcadia, North Baltimore, and PG and Leipzig down below. No secret here, Delphus St. John's.
Who's going to make an argument against it?
Right. I want to see somebody.
Go ahead, Miles. Try to tell us not.
Are you kidding me?
Who are we not going to sleep on in this bracket, Miles? Who is it?
I've got one.
Where's your bugaboo at?
I'm just saying, get the golf clubs out. Gone golfing. Look, DSJ is just moving on. Why are we playing this, right?
I don't know. Hold on. Gravy said he's got one.
All right, so I'm not
He just
saying.
wants to talk.
Kimmy, of course I want to talk. No, listen, hey, I saw PG almost beat Grove this season. I think they're playing great basketball. Now, they probably most likely, 99% will run into St. John's.
Villanova.
And that's very tough. But one thing, PG, again, like I said, they played Grove tough. They've got some ballers in Camden Veerhoff and Corey Gurdon. I don't know. Maybe they'll, make it to that game against DSJ. Now, then you can, make that argument.
Mike Lee's a great coach.
Yeah.
He is.
Let's ask Tyler. Tyler's seen him more than anybody. Is there
He knows.
any chance they trip up, Tyler? Any chance anywhere along
Bus
the
breaks
road
down.
here?
The Elwers aren't playing, and that's the only way that they lose.
That's half the team.
This team is too good. My broadcast partner Greg Tuttle and I, we watched them last year. It was our first year watching the Jays, and then this year it's just a completely different team from last year in regards to just their mentality. They are ball busters on defense, and they weren't bad defensively last year, but they just got better. And looking at the roster, there's 3 guys who play football, 1 golfer in Tice McLean. So his season's done in late September. So he's in the gym from October on until the start of the season. All the key guys on that team, they're always in the gym. They're not in a fall sport.
Yeah. And you try to shut down Cam Elwer, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Their complementary parts this year are so much better than they were last year. Danny, I'm going to give you an opportunity here, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You might have an obligation here to make a case for Waynesfield Goshen.
Look, Waynesfield Goshen, they got some young kids. They're more wins this year than in the last 20 years. They've got 11 wins already. They're not going to beat St. John's, but if they can get a win against Ridgemont, they're going to feel really good about this. They're building. Brad Klum is doing a great job of building for the next 2 to 3 years. And those seniors that are leaving this year, they're part of that foundation. But they've got freshmen and sophomore that are really talented. This is going to be a nice club the next 2 to 3 years.
Do you want to do an edit where you say they beat DSJ in case that happens?
I called it. I said they would.
So real quick before we get out of here, all right, what will a state championship win or loss mean in the grand scheme of things for the legacy Cam Elwer is going to leave behind at DSJ?
I think he's going to be a top 10 player in the state of Ohio. Look, if they get to the state Final Four, he's going to get a lot of votes for Mr. Basketball. He's averaging 30 points a game. He has led his team. They'll be undefeated at the time if they get there. And if he wins this, now they always give it the Thursday before the state championship.
They do,
yeah. I like his chances. I think he goes down as the greatest player in St. John's history.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely. And I think he cements himself top 10 all-time guards in the state of Ohio.
I think we said it on the show a year ago that they were going to win the state title and that he was going to be Mr. Basketball, right? I think we all stand by that, right? Tyler, he's shooting something crazy, like 58% from behind the arc or something, right?
I've never seen him miss.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's right around there, 58, around maybe 60%. It's absolutely unreal. But you talked about the legacy. I think if they're able to complete the mission, they would be the second team in St. John's history to go undefeated, have a perfect year since Coach Arnzen coached them in 1983, I think it was. They went 28-0. It was their first year in the MAC. They won the MAC that year, and then they won the state title.
Unless they're running to Johnstown.
Yeah, right. Hey, no, Cam Elwer, off the top of my head right now with his percentage, now he still has to keep up that percentage, would be the most proficient three-point shooter in Ohio history. I don't know what is I believe it's right around 58% for, pretty much his entire career. But, I've said this a bunch. I talk about Sean Foster in the same breath. Being a part of the 50-40-90 club, I think is, a really big thing. Shooting 50% from the field, 40% from three. Cam is obviously way above that number, but 40% from three and then 90% from the free throw line. You look at a lot of players' free throw numbers, around the area, and, it's always at, 80%. That's like those are the high numbers. And maybe it's because they don't get a lot of, free throw attempts, and that's the numbers that we see. But, being the free throw shooter that he is, along to go with everything else, I mean, we've said it all the time, he's just a killer, whether it's from the free throw line, from the field or from the three-point line. So to finish, if he would be able to finish, his career, his entire senior year being above the 50-40-90, I think that's something to tack onto his resume as well.
He'll have a really good shot at winning Mr. Basketball if next week on this show he wins the King of the Court tournament.
Ooh, self-promotion at its best.
You know why we remember Cam, and I
Shameless
think
plug.
we can all agree on this. I've never seen him have a bad big game. He shows up every time in a big game. Yeah. I mean, I saw him struggle a little bit earlier this year, and he ended up with 31, 32. And I thought, well, he didn't have a great game? No. That kid, he is locked and loaded for every big game, and that's what gets you noticed on the big stage. And as he goes along, I think those Mr. Basketball votes are going to come out because he just does it the right way. Really
a
does.
year ago you felt as if he had to get 30 for them to win every single time. You don't feel that way this year.
No, they've got shooters all over. Guys, thanks a lot. Tyler El Guapo Avila, Young Gravy David Menzel from Fan 93.1. Sorry, I screwed that up.
There's no point in it.
There's no point in it. But thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Hey, you know what? I had a great time. I love all the lights and everything. Reminds me of my theater kid days. I was waiting for a Miles joke after that.
You made the joke yourself.
I was hoping for something extra from Miles.
Nobody said face for made for radio, though.
Welcome back to the Three Wise Men, everybody. What a great show. Big thanks to our guest, the Van Wert Cougars, Mile. They were fantastic.
They were great, and I need to remind you about how important it was. Flavor Flav said, get up and get down. The shot clock ain't a joke in your town.
I hope I
Hey, who did they not want to be on their floor in lights? Oh, I think it was this guy. It was that guy.
Miles. You and I got picked.
Who doesn't want this face on their gym floor?
Van Wert Cougars were here. The crew from 93.1 was here. Did a great job breaking down the brackets.
Yep, love talking about that. So many good matchups. I can't wait.
Yeah, who we got next week, Miles?
We got Coach Vermillion and Calvin Willow, and Coach said he's going to bring another player with him from Arlington.
Have we ever had a taller player than Calvin Willow on the set?
No, we'll have to raise the roof for him.
Very good. Thanks a lot for watching Lima Land. You've been watching the Three Wise Men.